This is the Luigi Scapini Tarot. It's sort of known by two names, Shakespeare Tarot or Tarot of Romeo and Juliet, or Tarot de Julieta e Romeo. It's published by Del Negro, and it, I believe it's still in print, but I'm not certain. Here's the UPC, and I got this from tarotbg.edu this year, and I'm a huge fan of Luigi Scapini's. I think his art is amazing, and it lends itself so well to the tarot. And let's take a look at this. Here's the box. It's just a tuck box. The book with it is larger than you might think. It is bound with cardstock, and it is in Italian and English, and it's sort of reversible. Okay. So that's really nice. There are two cards that show the back of it, which is completely reversible, and it's the same on each side. I'm not sure what the purpose of that is. It's rather odd when looking at the tarot. And this is the order in which I got it. And when I looked at it, I did try to figure out, it's called the Shakespeare Tarot or the Romeo and Juliet Tarot. What's the figures? And I don't really know enough about Shakespeare, even though I've read plenty of his plays, to pick out the different people, the different figures. So I think it's pretty neat. Anyway, regardless. The one thing this lacks that the medieval Scapini does is sort of that goldish color. I wish it had that. This seems very flat. The numbers there, these are the major arcana. It does start with a 0. And the Fool. And it's in Italian, Il Matto, and then the Fool. And then it looks like Shakespeare is the Magician, and there's the Globe Theatre there. All these elongated limbs, these sort of stretched limbs. La Papes. The Empress. I mean, the art on these is wonderfully fine and detailed and very delicate. Typical of Scapini. The Emperor. The Pope. The Papa. There's an Egyptian there, which, of course, Shakespeare wrote Antony and Cleopatra as well as Julius Caesar. Lovers. The Chariot. I love this. These horses rumbling. The blue billowing out. Justice. I mean, there's so much detail in these cards. It's really amazing. It's so muted. Colors are nice, but they're muted. You really need to observe and reflect on the cards. Hermit. Wheel of Fortune. This looks like King Lear with his daughters, but I'm not certain. But I do know about King Lear. Forza la Force. Interesting, they're sort of, the lion is wrapped around the figure as he's balancing with mushrooms. That's the one thing I really appreciate Scapini. He's not afraid to introduce new and sort of fantastic elements into the tarot. Oh, I knew what this one is. This is Hamlet and Ophelia, which is why this isn't, this is more the Shakespeare Tarot versus the Romeo and Juliet, because all of Shakespeare's plays are depicted in some way. So there's the famous pre-Raphaelite painting of Ophelia, sort of imitated there. We have Hamlet himself with the little skull there. Here we have card 13, Death, with a sort of comical play on death there. Temperance, here we have, I don't know what that looks like, some huge syringe that's being aimed at the man who's crawling. There's 1 foot in the water, 1 foot on land. The devil, there's a king, there's the devil, and the women dancing around, Bacchanal, the tower, Stella Star, the funny little bird has become a kingfisher, right there. And here's Romeo and Juliet as the moon. This is the sun. Judgment. The world. And that is the major arcana. So one thing I didn't talk about was the size. Here's the size, sort of fit in the hand, larger than playing cards. Kind of make a noise when you move them. The edges are very smooth and rounded, not square, and they slide fairly well. They are not terribly glossy. You can hear my finger on them. They are coated. Very nice, very smooth. See? And this is the order in which they came, so let's look at them. Okay, so we have the swords first. First we have swords, then we have cups, then we have batons, and rounding out we have coins, denarii. Okay, we have king, knight. It's interesting, what is a knight there? Then we have queen. Beautiful card. She has a sword, she is raising that sword. And then we have the page. Fante de spade. Spada. And then these mimic the, we're going to count down, and this mimics the Marseille. 10. 9. 8. 7. 6. We have a sailboat, ships. Charleston, 5. 4, we have cave. 3, we have, and that looks like King Lear with the 3 daughters. 2. Ace. Oh, what a pretty card. That is very beautiful. The heart's been stabbed. We have a crown. Really nice. Very nice artwork. And here we have the cups. King, who does not look like a king, looks more like a chef. The knight. Beautiful black horse. It's funny, I was watching a sort of a mini documentary on YouTube about the Denver International Airport, and the statue of the horse, the Mustang that's in front of it. It has red glowing eyes and this sort of puckered anus, asshole, and that too is puckered, very explicitly shown. Queen of Cups. Looks like she's very domesticated. There's the dove. Beautiful woman just sitting there, pensive. Page of Cups. Ten. Little baby cherubs there. Wow. These have children all over them, little toddlers. Even more toddlers. Even more babies, but with other people. And probably the reason behind this is the cup, the vessel, is associated with female anatomy. She holds the essence, she's the womb, life within. And so maybe that's what it's playing on, all those baby children, little babies. Whereas the sword is normally the phallic symbol for man, a sharpened sword, virility, stiff, aggressive. More babies, sort of like weird angel babies, scorpion fish, sort of fish baby. 3, very pretty card. I love the greens. The attention to detail in each of the cups that run over. Each like a little oasis inside. 2, beautiful little Cupid. Baby's making out. Shy baby. I actually really like this card. Ace. Now it's wands, or bastoni. It looks like he's Middle Eastern. The knight. Queen. Looks like she's raising there's a hand over her mouth, and also a rolling pin in the air. Interesting. The page is a woman, and there's a sort of a beast with fire. Tangled person in 10. 9. Ooh, 8. 7. Six. We sort of have a king, queen, and some fairies or something, and a man in the middle. 5. Here we have a sword fight. People in the middle. 4. 3. 2. 1. It's a rainbow sword. Interesting. Pretty card, very pretty. This is one very unique deck. Even though it's sort of themed, it is fairly powerful as far as tarot goes. The imagery. The king. The knight. Motley colors. A show off. The horse is purple. Over a city. There's so much detail in Scapini cards. It really is. Queen. She's over top the king and maybe the princess. She's sort of smushing them, maybe. This is the page. There's a smiley face on the coin. Almost like graffiti, and he's hiding his face. Probably because those yellow tights are way too tight. I'd be embarrassed. It's like everything's out there for everyone to see. 10. This is called this type of house style is called half timber. Looks like the Colosseum. Maybe a reference to Julius Caesar. Ooh. Building, scaffolding. This looks like, is this Florence or Venice? Merchant of Venice. Maybe that's it. Six. 5. 4, sort of inside of a fortress. 3. Interesting. Each of these coins are very different. 2. 1. Okay, so let's look at what the book says. I wonder if the book tells you which each deck is referring to. Yep, it sure does. So, let's look at the Fool. The Fool is... Lear. Oh, King Lear. King Lear's Fool. The Magic Stage Director is William Shakespeare on the Magician. Popess is Mary Stuart. Empress is Elizabeth Tudor. Emperor is Albert the First. The Pope is Pope Boniface the Eighth. The Lovers is Romeo and Juliet and Friar Lawrence's Cell. The Chariot is Coriolanus. Justice is Domus Mercatorum in Verona. Wheel of Fortune is King Lear and his daughters. Force is Orlando. Hangman is Hamlet, of course. This is funny. The hangman surrenders the dignity of the upright lifestyle, while his upside-down station reveals his genitalia, a bundle packed up as in his times Romeo was wont. Interesting. I'm going to revisit that card. Let's look. So we looked for the hangman. Oh, there he is. The genitalia. Well, it's kind of exposed. It looks like there's a cod piece there with flesh. Interesting. Well, so the book does give you quite a bit of story, characters and all. Very nice. That's loud. I like Del Negro decks because they really leave some cushion in their boxes for you to put the cards back and tuck them back to bed. Anyway, that is the Romeo and Juliet Tarot, Shakespeare Tarot by Luigi Scapini, published by Del Negro. It's a very beautiful deck. And this thing I'm playing with is it's a paperweight that my great-grandmother had. It's just a daisy, a mum. But I've had it ever since I was little, so I think it's pretty special. And when it catches the light, it's pretty neat. It really is just it's the stuff where you pour it and it solidifies. I thought about getting into it, but I think I need more space in my house to do it. The epoxy, when you pour it, it captures whatever you've poured into it, and it's hard. You can make jewelry or whatever out of it. But I really like this one. It's not very impressive, but I think it's cool. Anyway, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it.